Get ready, guys. If they lift up, we're gonna kill them. Kill them!
Kill him.
This year we wanted to travel to a bunch of new locations, hunt some different species, get into some new scenery, kind of change it up a little. Last year the weather was absolutely perfect. I don't think you could have drawn it up any better for a lot of places around the country. This year was a complete and utter reversal of the weather that we experienced last year. And when all was said and done, you know, Mother Nature threw a wrench in a lot of our plans. We had trips canceled. We had a lot of hunts that didn't pan out. We were traveling all across the country trying to make something happen. The weather wasn't cooperating, but at the end of the season, you know, it was by far and away probably our most successful year. You cannot measure the success of a season based upon the number of birds on the ground. A lot goes into what we do, and over the course of 4 years we've met some incredible people, a lot of guys that will now be lifelong friends. They help make this possible, and that's how you measure the success of the year, is the time spent afield with new friends, with old friends, and just enjoying the scenery.
We started off the season heading out to New York, do some early Canada goose hunting. 15 goose limit, unplugged guns. Got a hold of Randy Hill and Josh Dahlstrom with Hardcore, headed out to New York, someplace we'd never been before, and we were really excited to try and get out there and take advantage of this early season goose hunting, that they allow you 15 birds and allow you your guns unplugged. Seemed like it was going to be a really good time. Our friend Brian had quite a few birds in the area that were patterned. There was migrators starting to come down. Said it was going to look really good, so we were excited to get out there and do some hunting. Well, the weather didn't work out exactly in our favor, but given that, the trip turned out really well. It's always a good time to, you know, get out and hunt with some friends and see new places and try new things. So all in all, it was a good trip.
Once again, it wasn't like we just showed up to a field and there they were. We put a lot of miles on the road to find the birds we got to get on, and we had to work for them. Alberta turned out to be a great trip. We got on some great hunts. The barley fields up in Alberta, they provided for some of the absolute best duck hunting you'll probably ever get a chance to hunt. The way they do it is they windrow the barley in order to let the crop dry out. And when they do that, they leave the head or the food on the barley stubble, and the ducks, they walk the windrows and pick the heads right off of it. The thing with the windrowed barley is not only does it provide the ducks with a ton of food, it provides layout blind hunters a ton of cover. You don't necessarily have to utilize the stubble straps, but you can just pick up that windrowed barley and lay it right on top of you as though it was a blanket itself.
We wanted to make a trip this year where we were completely out of our comfort zone, something completely off the wall, different than anything we've ever done. So we traveled to Long Island, New York, and hooked up with Glenn Geck of Knock 'em Down Guide Service, and had 2.5 days of some of the most incredible decoying brant action I've ever seen. I've always wanted to go to the East Coast to hunt, wanted to see ducks, wanted to do brant, was able to check one off the list shortly after the first of the year. You know, we had no idea what to expect going into it. Glenn knows these birds like the back of his hand. Set up the decoy spread, anchor the boat back up against the shore, and this is a type of hunt that's not based around clouds, sun, you know, the weather. It all depends on the tide. When the tide goes out, it exposes the food source for the brant. They're really active. When it's high tide, they're not nearly as active. So you plan your hunts based around high and low tide. And you want to talk about a bird that will absolutely fully commit to a decoy spread, brant or it. Not only were we able to check brant off of our list of hunts that we wanted to do, but in 3.5 years, we have never filmed a band fall on film. And in those 2.5 days with Knock 'em Down Guide Service, we filmed not only our first duck band fall on film, but also a double banded brant and a single branded brant. What a way to ring in the new year.
Going into the Wounded Warrior hunt, I really didn't know what to expect. Overall, was just a great experience. All the people that were there, everyone that participated, the volunteers, the guest speakers that we had, the cooks, it was just a great environment to be in. We hunted this loafing pond that I've only heard about, and Blake was grinning from ear to ear, which is rare to see Blake grin from ear to ear about a goose hunt. Loaded up with honkers the night before. There was a nice little, almost like a shelf on the pasture going down to the pond. Put the honkers on the opposite side of the bank and put some floaters out in front of us, take away the view from the blinds and have them focused over across from us. I love hunting honkers, and it was an experience I'll remember for a lifetime, just putting, some of America's greatest veterans on a hunt of a lifetime, in your face goose hunt that I will cherish for the rest of my life, and I can only imagine that they will never ever forget.
First trip to Arkansas was this year for snow geese, and it was definitely an incredible experience. You're getting there and it's the first they get to hear an e-collar since they left Canada. People have their snow goose spreads and everything, but there's no e-collar involved, and we were there for the first days of it, and the way the birds react then is completely different than when we hunt them here at home. They respond better, they work better, they take the plugs out, shoot as many as you can. The piles at the end of the day, it's something you don't forget because you don't hardly ever get to shoot that many birds during regular season.
This is where it's going to be. I can't even see him in the sun. Get ready. Kill him.
After fighting the weather for 7 weeks, we finally caught a break in Arkansas with the snow geese. You pray for the perfect conditions when you hunt snow geese because almost everything has to line up perfect in order to really get into the snow geese good, and that's what we got in Arkansas. We had warm, sunny, windy. It was some of the most ideal conditions for snow geese because after the weather we had, it finally worked out for us.
Well, we could fucking pick it up with some wildlife.
Uh-oh, it's coming back right here. Sailing right here. Low.
You look back on the season, we had some incredible hunts. Got to see a lot of new, gorgeous locations. Got to meet some new, awesome people from across the country. We can't wait to bring you the rest of our hunts this year. Not only the good hunts, but some awesome, awesome stories of some guys across the country.
You hunt snow geese and you got to pray for the perfect.
You're fine. You are fine. Stop growling.
Going into it, I didn't really know. I probably should itch my eye first.
Well, we started off the season with a knock on the door. We went out there to hunt with our friend Brian Underwood. He's got a bunch of property out there and had quite a few geese pattern for some morning hunts. And then there was this giant trash can, and it started rolling across the field, and it made a noise, something like this. And that just sucked the geese in for miles. They thought that there was a...
Florida shows.
Right.